Okay, so have you ever felt like you're not quite good enough? Like there's this inner voice that's always kind of criticizing you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think we all deal with that to some extent, right? That inner critic can be pretty loud sometimes.
It really can. And today we're going deep on this whole idea of self-acceptance. Like how do we quiet that inner critic and actually embrace who we are?
I love that topic. It's so important.
Yeah, and what's cool is we're going to get some really practical advice on this from a motivational speaker named Teru Nakashima.
Oh, I've heard of him. He's got some great insights.
Yeah, and he's got this speech where he lays out these really actionable techniques for cultivating self-acceptance. So it's not just like this vague concept. It's like, okay, here are things you can actually do.
I'm all about actionable steps, so this is right up my alley.
Mine too. So to start off, Nakashima has this really interesting analogy. He compares self-acceptance to the trunk of a tree.
A tree trunk. That's a cool image.
Right, because like a strong tree trunk provides stability and resilience, like it can weather all kinds of storms.
And that's kind of how self-acceptance works too. When we have that strong foundation of self-acceptance, we can handle life's challenges so much better.
Totally. So how do we build this inner tree trunk, this foundation of self-acceptance? Well, Nakashima has 5 key practices we're going to dig into. And the first one might seem a little strange at first.
Oh, okay, I'm intrigued.
It's called the 10-minute mirror gaze.
10 minutes staring at yourself in the mirror. That sounds kind of intense.
Right, like I'm already cringing a little bit. But the idea is to spend 10 minutes each morning looking at yourself in the mirror, but not in a critical way, not like picking apart your flaws.
So what are you supposed to be looking for?
You're looking at yourself with kindness and acceptance, like you would look at a dear friend. You're just observing gently, without judgment.
Hmm. I can see how that might be a challenge, but I guess that's the point, right? To shift our perspective.
Exactly, because when we're constantly criticizing ourselves, it's hard to feel good about who we are.
It's like we're reinforcing all those negative beliefs.
Right? So this mirror gaze is about replacing that harsh inner critic with a more compassionate observer. And I have to admit, even though it feels a little awkward, it's actually been kind of powerful.
Really? You've tried it?
Yeah, I've been doing it for a few weeks now. And it's amazing how just taking those few minutes to really see myself with kindness can change my whole outlook.
That's so cool. I'm definitely going to do that.
Okay, so moving on to the next practice, which is called the Imperfection Journal.
The imperfection journal. Okay, that sounds intriguing.
So basically, each day you write down your struggles, your mistakes, those things that make you feel well imperfect, the things you usually beat yourself up about.
We all have those days.
For sure. And then after each entry, you write the affirmation, but that's okay.
Oh, I like that. It's like giving yourself permission to mess up.
Totally. Because we're all going to make mistakes. We're not going to be perfect all the time. And this practice is about accepting that.
So it's not about ignoring our shortcomings. It's about acknowledging them and then saying, hey, it's all good.
Exactly. And Nakashima gives this example in his speech of feeling really nervous during a presentation.
Oh, I can relate to that.
Right? Like, who hasn't been there? But he pushed through and gave the presentation anyway.
Even though he felt scared.
Yep. And then he wrote it down in his imperfection journal. I felt really nervous during that presentation, but that's okay.
I love that. It's so simple, but so powerful.
Right. It's like we're breaking this cycle of self-criticism and replacing it with self-compassion.
Okay, so what's the next practice?
Okay, so this one is called the Emotion Color Diary, and it's pretty unique.
A colored diary. I'm curious.
So basically, you assign colors to different emotions you experience throughout the day.
So like red for anger.
Yep, exactly. Or blue for sadness, yellow for joy, whatever feels right for you.
So I'd be like tracking my mood with colors.
Yeah, and as you track your emotions, you label each color as a part of me.
Oh, I get it. So instead of judging our emotions, we're just acknowledging them as parts of ourselves.
Precisely. It's like a rainbow. Each color is distinct, but together they create something beautiful and complete.
So we need all our emotions, even the unpleasant ones, to be whole.
Exactly. It's all part of the human experience.
I like that analogy.
Okay, so ready for practice number 4?
Hit me with it.
This one is called the Tree Observation Journal.
Okay, we're getting into nature now.
Yep. For this one, you choose a tree and observe it regularly. Notice how it changes with the seasons, loses its leaves, grows new branches, weather storms.
But it remains standing strong.
Right. So what do you think this practice is about?
Well, I'm guessing it's about recognizing that resilience in nature and relating it to our own lives.
You got it. Because trees go through so much. They have periods of dormancy, they lose branches, they get scarred by storms, yet they keep growing.
And we're like that too. We all have our own scars and challenges, but we can keep growing too.
Exactly. And just like a tree's growth rings tell a story of its life, our experiences, both positive and negative, shape who we are.
That's a beautiful way to look at it.
So on to the final practice. It's called the self-acceptance letter.
I'm ready to write.
So every Sunday, you write a letter to yourself starting with Dear Me. And in this letter, you reflect on the week's events and feelings. But the key is to do so with acceptance and self-compassion.
No beating yourself up.
Nope, it's about creating a safe space to be honest with yourself and process your experiences without judgment.
So it's like a check-in with your own heart.
Exactly. You know, it's really inspiring how Nakashima encourages us to be kind to ourselves. He reminds us that self-acceptance is a journey, not a destination, and that it's okay to not be perfect.
And you know what? As I was thinking about all these practices, I had this thought, what if we did them in a group setting? Like other people.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting.
Yeah. Like imagine the support and encouragement you could get from sharing this journey with others.
It could be so powerful to have that community and accountability.
Exactly. It could really amplify the impact of each practice.
Totally something to think about. So as you're exploring these practices, remember that self-acceptance is a process. Be patient with yourself, celebrate your progress, and most importantly, approach yourself with the same kindness and compassion you would offer to someone you love.
Absolutely beautiful.
Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into self-acceptance.
This was great. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And to all our listeners out there, keep those inner trees growing strong.
You got it.